Climate change is everyone's business, so you can never be too old or too young to get involved and know what you can do to make a difference. An individual change, simple actions such as the proper disposal of your garbage, turning off the lights when not in use, or even cutting down how much gas you use can help with the survival of the place you call home.
The environment, river, the forests has always been a part of what we do for fun. You know, we go to the river to swim, we go to the forest to play catch, to play hide and seek. And so this has always been a part of my life growing up, even up to now. I enjoy hiking, I enjoy going to the Chickabul Forest, I enjoy going to different areas across the country, the Keys. And so it's always been intertwined in what I do for enjoyment.
The love for the place he calls home is what inspired San Ignacio resident Sumit Betancourt to pursue a degree in natural resource management. Now, Betancourt is not only the emissions factor officer for the government of Belize, but he's also a successive negotiator for the Belize delegation at the United Nations Conference of the Parties, dealing with the heavily discussed Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, which focuses on climate finance.
To have the opportunity to be able to be a part of that, to be able to push for Belize to ensure that we maintain what we have now for not only my current generation, but for my little niece, my little nephew, you know, my cousins, my family, everyone growing up in Belize. Because truly the way some actions across the world are going, it's really having an impact on us. You see the damages from Hurricane Lisa most recently. You know, these are millions of dollars in damage. But that's not the only thing that damages. This displaces people, which at the center of all this, you need to have that there's that human element, that connection with our people back home. So it's important for me to be able to play a role in combating the impacts of climate change, a meaningful role. And so I'm very fortunate and I'm proud to be here at COP27.
The youth voice at COP is critical, and that space is provided through YOUNGO, the Young Non-Governmental Organizations, which is the official children and youth constituency of the UNFCCC. During the first ever Climate Week in Belize in mid-October, a youth declaration was created and was included in YOUNGO's Global Statement on Youth.
This is cross-generational, multi-generational, and so the youth voice is critical in this fight. You know, we can't do this without informing the youth, without informing my generation and for the generations to come. So without us, it is impossible to fight and actually start to winning the fight against climate change.
The Youth Pavilion at COP27 in Egypt saw the engagement of thousands of young people from across the world who are actively involved in the climate change conversation. They too are having meetings, joining protests and expressing concerns on the future of the planet, calling for real commitment and action across the board. Among those persons is another Belizean, Jason Salgado.
Young people have been around for quite time within the youth space of international climate space, and we believe that it's really important because young people can contribute with a lot of recommendation. Young people are affected by climate change, so we know what's happening. So we have the solution, we can innovate, we are professionals, and we think we can provide the positive solution and bring them to the table.
And there are many more like Salgado who are resolute in wanting to be a part of the change. UNICEF's Regional Climate Change Advisor for Latin America and the Caribbean region, Reyes Lopez, is impressed by the youth turnout and participation this year.
This is the first time there is a youth pavilion. So that speaks really loud about how late I'm beginning to include children and youth into the conversation, into the climate processes. So I think it's really important to start from that basis. Speaking with different negotiators, different colleagues at the COP, we have seen that still we have a lot to do to advance the rights of children in the negotiations. The climate crisis is a child crisis. It's a crisis that is not in the future, it's happening now. And the most impacted are children who have little agency, who have not the economic resources to bounce back, not a political kind of push to really make the decisions or voices heard. So we are really aiming to have these platforms for them to speak out, to be part of the conversation and to be, of course, part of the solution.
Lopez feels, however, that there can be more participation by Caribbean youth.
For this COP, maybe because it's too far, I haven't seen much representation from the Caribbean. So I think it's a point to really highlight. We want for them to be part of the conversation. We all do have a role to play fighting on this crisis. Young people who are interested can really do their their fair share by recycling, by learning about the science about climate change, about engaging with local organizations, about engaging within themselves with different ideas. We are really pushing for governments to include young people to be part of the delegations that sit at the table and negotiate. And we have clear good examples from the region.
There are multiple levels of participation in the climate change battle, and as Betancourt puts it, a country's resilience starts at the community level.
Most recently in Hurricane Lisa, there were multiple organizations, youth organizations and youth in general who contributed to recovery. You know, you see these actions and you know, my personal friends are there. You can see it in the news. And so it's as simple as you wanting to contribute in any effort within your community.
Reporting for News 5 from COP27 in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, I'm Duane Moody.